I'm CNY Central First Alert meteorologist Matt Stevens coming to you live from Battery Park. We were forced to evacuate by park police. It could be of historic
Hurricane
levels.
Sandy coverage from Central New York and New York City. Only on the stations of CNY Central. You're watching Today in Central New York on NBC3.
Good morning again. It is Tuesday, October 30th. It is a very busy morning, Pete.
Here in Central New York, we did have some damage, but compared to many other spots, we were pretty lucky.
Well, right now we are continuing to follow breaking news out of New York City. Not only are they obviously dealing with the aftermath of Sandy, 50 homes destroyed by a fire, an out-of-control fire. Look at that.
6 alarms.
Yes, we're going to have the latest on that. And this morning we have quadruple team coverage of this storm. Obviously, you are on with the most up-to-the-minute information about the weather here in Central New York. Also, right now, we have meteorologist Matt Stevens live in New York City this morning. We have Jim Kenyon. He is live in Oswego County, and Brandon Roth is live at the airport. So we are covering every aspect of the storm this morning.
All right, let's talk about what happened and what to expect today. Now, you might be curious, waking up this morning going, oh, what storm or something like that? Well, remember, yesterday we had said we'd have wind gusts of 40 to 60 miles an hour with the highest winds at the highest elevations, especially 1,500 feet and higher and by the lake shores. Well, have a look at some of the areas with the local peak gusts here. Many areas had 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Sherburne, Oswego, Watertown, Rochester, Irondequoit, Fulton, Penn Yan. Of course, here in Syracuse, wound up with, I say, only 40 mile per hour winds. Let's count our blessings, folks, that we didn't get something a little bit worse in the immediate populated area of the city of Syracuse, because it could very easily have happened. There were many other spots that did have that. And there have been some reports of some wind damage. As we look forward, what are we looking for? There are weather alerts. First off, the high wind warnings have been downgraded for every area in tan. That's everywhere away from almost away from the lake shores here. Much of Central New York now down to a wind advisory. It'll still be gusty, and we'll have winds more often than not between 15 and 30. The wettest weather, south, east, and west of the immediate Central New York. It seems like we have a little dome, not the carrier dome, but a little weather dome of worse weather here, not only last night, but today. Now, it's still going to be windy. We'll have some sun, a couple of passing showers, but all things considered, not as bad as other parts where there's a raging blizzard at this second in West Virginia. Well, we knew we weren't going to get that, but eventually we will get colder. More on that coming up, Lisa.
We continue to follow breaking news right now. About 200 firefighters on the scene of a massive 6-alarm fire in Queens. At least 50 homes in that area destroyed by a late-night fire. The flames broke out around 11 o'clock last night. They quickly spread, and crews had a very hard time reaching the 6-alarm fire due to floodwaters in that area. No word yet what started this fire. 2 people have reportedly suffered minor injuries. This morning, here's the very latest up-to-the-minute information on the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy. At least 16 people have died as a result of the storm, and more than 5 million residences and businesses are in the dark right now. Sandy has caused flooding at the southern tip of Manhattan and snow in higher elevations of West Virginia. The storm slammed into the New Jersey coastline with 80-mile-per-hour winds last night and hurled an unprecedented 13-foot surge of seawater at New York City. Wall Street will be closed for a second day today because of that storm. Well, take a look at this video. A construction crane continues to dangle off of a luxury high-rise building in Manhattan, prompting a huge emergency response. The crane is at West 57th Street. No injuries have been reported, but the crane did prompt street closures and evacuations of nearby buildings even before the storm hit. Meteorologist Matt Stevens continues to track the very latest this morning live from Manhattan. And Matt, one of the questions I have, did you see that crane? Because that's been all over the national news. That looks scary. And I was wondering how that was even like that. They knew that the storm was coming.
You know, we did not personally see it, but I would have liked to have seen it, but I did ultimately see it all over the national news when we got back to our hotel room late last night. But our biggest concern was getting through the flooding last night. You just mentioned the over 13-foot surge in water, and we felt the effects of that. We ended up having to drive through standing water, which we do not advocate at all for anyone. We didn't have a choice. We had to do it. We had to evacuate Battery Park. We were given no choice whatsoever. So we're standing right now on 7th Avenue, right at 32nd. I'll step aside so you can probably tell. This is Madison Square Garden territory, of course, right in the vicinity of Penn Station, right on the top of Penn Station, of course. And the reason we're here is twofold. Number one, going to swing on over and look at the entrance here. They have it barricaded off, and of course, officials and officers of the law are blocking it off. The reason for it, of course, the subway system is shut down. Number two, just want to give a general scene setter here, as we like to call it in the business. Note how there's a significant lack of cabs on the roads. That's because Mayor Michael Bloomberg did ask the cabs to shut down service overnight. Now, we have seen a couple of them starting to come back this morning, but if you've been to New York City at all, you know this is abnormally light traffic right now, especially abnormally light cab traffic. Now, I'm going to focus a little farther south. See how they have this partially blocked off looking south? The reason for this is that scaffolding you see on the left-hand side of your shot. That's on the east side of 7th Avenue. Well, some of that scaffolding was falling down overnight, and also had some broken glass, and that was scattered throughout. And they just didn't want people walking and or driving through there. Now, in terms of power, we have plenty of power right where we're standing right now, and we should be okay here. However, we're starting to consider, and I believe we're going to make the jog a little farther westbound, looking over towards just a little farther west on Manhattan. We're told by officers that we do have better access to possibly some flooding over there that's still left over, or what we call residual flooding. We're going to go investigate that for our next hit coming up, Lisa.
Matt, I just can't get over how quiet it is right now down in New York City. I don't think I've ever seen it like that. I mean, especially it's 5:36. You know, right now people there, they get to work early. It would be so busy with traffic and noise and everything. It's just amazing.
Oh, absolutely, Lisa. This is the time of the day when you'd have cabs, you know, honking, and you'd be able to barely hear Matt Stevens on a live shot. But instead, it's actually relatively quiet. And you know, the sounds that are given off by the crosswalk signals for those who are hearing impaired, you can hear those loud and clear. You know you can't usually hear those when you're talking about when you're at the peak of traffic, which is, you know, this time of the morning and onward for the next couple of hours. So for now, reporting from 7th Avenue in New York City, Manhattan, I'm CNY Central, First Alert meteorologist Matt Stevens.
All right, Matt and Lewis, your photojournalist, great job, guys. I know you're working very hard. Thanks so much. Right now, our team coverage continues with Jim Kenyon. He is live right now in Oswego County, where there are some power outages right now this morning, Jim, and also you found some damage there.
Well, that's right, Lisa. You know, right now it's breezy, no rain. In fact, you can see a full moon in Central Square right now, just off Route 81. But, you know, in as much as people were predicting that we would miss the brunt of the storm, we weren't entirely unscathed. Now, we're going to show you some video of what took place at a trailer park in Pennville. This is at the Blue Jay Lane Trailer Park that's on Route 54 in Pennville, just west of Central Square. As you can see, a tree went right through the center of a trailer home, and inside were 2 adults and a 4-year-old child. They all were able to escape unhurt with the help of some neighbors, and now we're told that the Red Cross has taken them and they're staying at a motel. But they escaped some serious injury, as you can see, with that tree going right through the center of the trailer home. Neighbor Cheryl Hamilton told us what she saw last night.
I hear this really strange noise. My dad thought it was thunder. I came out to find a tree in my neighbor's living room.
It went right through the trailer.
It's right through the trailer. The ceiling fan is basically almost on the floor.
Now they were okay?
Yeah. Miracles do happen.
Now, we you're told that there are a number of power outages. We're told that there are a number of power outages scattered throughout Oswego County, New Haven, Pleasant Point Drive, and County Route 1, and also in Cleveland. At one point, the National Grid was reporting some 2,700 customers in Oswego County were without power. Many of them are being restored right now. And I talked to the dispatchers at the Oswego County 911 Center, and they're telling me that they were concerned that 7 sirens associated with the nuclear power plants at 9 Mile Point were out because of the power outages, and that has since been corrected, so now only 3 are down. They do expect, however, to receive many reports of minor damage when the sun comes up and people get to realize just what took place last night. Reporting live from Central Square, I'm Jim Kenyon.
Jim, thanks so much. Our team coverage continues right now with our Brandon Roth. He is live at Hancock International Airport, where travelers today, Brandon, they're really going to be impacted by this storm.
That's right, Lisa. The calm after the storm here at Hancock Airport, and for good reason. Take a look. Almost all the flights are canceled this morning. More than 75% of all the departing flights from Hancock canceled, and more than 50% of the arrivals. And the interesting thing is, it is not just the flights into JFK, Newark, Washington, Philadelphia, as we saw yesterday, but now you're actually seeing the number of cancellations in the airports where flights are canceled out of expanding into Chicago, Cleveland, into the Midwest, down south, Delta, into Atlanta. So what you're seeing now is that ripple effect from more than 12,000 flights being canceled. It is starting to cause even more cancellations. I've talked to several people this morning that have been stuck here. Some folks from Canada came in last night. They finally got rescheduled. They're trying to get to Chicago and eventually down to Texas. They ended up now having their flight. They're getting on a flight for tonight. So you're going to see a lot of that throughout the day. If you are traveling, there's a good chance that your flight is canceled or delayed. You're going to need to check with your airline. Rail service and bus service in the Northeast Corridor remains canceled today as well. So a lot of headaches for folks trying to travel as a result of Hurricane Sandy, as the impact of that storm is being felt not only across the Northeast, but right here in Central New York. We're live at Hancock Airport this morning. Brandon Roth for Today in Central New York.
Brandon, thank you. The time right now, it is 5:42, and our team coverage continues now with Pete.
Well, we aren't going to see anything as bad as we had seen last night. I understand that there were many plot spots that actually only, and I say only, got 40-mile-per-hour winds. That's probably the maximum wind we'll get today. There were some spots that had higher. We'll show you what's next and what to expect for Halloween after the break. It's 5:44, time for traffic and weather together, and we actually just got a report of some wires down in Lysander, which I'll get to in a second. Here's what's happening right now. It is still gusty, but like we had mentioned yesterday, the winds, while certainly strong, were much worse south and west, and that's also where the rain is worse. And we got about 2/3 of an inch of rain, and as we told you yesterday, worst rains would be to our south. You can see them still down there, and also some flood advisories in western New York. As we look forward, the rest of the day looks like this, and it's just, again, look how big and wide this storm is. There is a raging blizzard right now in southwestern Ohio and West Virginia. In central New York, there's this little oasis of just not much happening rain-wise, which was predicted, and while we did have some gusty winds, certainly wasn't as bad as many other spots where there was damage north, west, south of the immediate Onondaga County area. With regards to new weather today, expect sustained 15 to 30-mile-per-hour winds with gusts of 40 for most spots. I do not expect it to cause any further damage than what has already occurred. Ahead tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a lot less wind for Halloween, only 5 to 15-mile-per-hour winds with a high of 54. I do want to pass along that I just got this into the traffic report here. The Belgian Cold Springs Fire Department is reporting wires down in the town of Lysander at the corner of River Road and Timberbanks Road, which I believe that is the Radisson area, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll investigate that further. If you're right there on the corner of River Road and Timberbanks Road, there's some wires down there.
Yeah. And if anybody has any pictures, Pete, of wires down, or if you happen to have any damage at all, please put it on our Facebook page right now. So please share that, and then we could pass that along with everybody. The time right now, it is 5:46. Time to celebrate birthdays. If you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday, especially going out to Adrian Best, who turns 4 today. And don't forget, if you want to wish somebody a happy birthday, please give us their name, birthday, and a photo at least 1 full week in advance. It's so simple to do so. Just go to cnycentral.com, and that is where you can fill out the birthday bash entry form. The time right now, it is 5:49, and of course, we have the Breakfast Club here at CNY Central that we want to tell you about. We want you at home to join in. We have great contests and giveaways in store for you. It is really simple to sign up. All you have to do is go to our website, cnycentral.com, and click on the Breakfast Club link at the top of the page. When you get there, simply fill out the entry form, and you will be an official member of the Breakfast Club. And of course, that will make you eligible for some great prizes and contests. We're letting members in on exclusive deals from your favorite businesses all over Central New York. Well, we still have much more coming up here on Today in Central New York. We are all over the aftermath of Sandy. And Pete, we have you this morning. We have Jim Kenyon live in Oswego County. We've Matt Stevens live in New York City, and Brandon is live at the airport. So let's give it to you right now. Give us the most up-to-the-minute new information on the forecast.
Well, looking forward, we're not going to see anything worse than what we saw last night. And I can already hear people talking to the TV, well, it wasn't anything last night. We were extremely lucky to only have had 40-mile-per-hour winds in the greater Syracuse area, because just about everywhere else there was 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds for Fulton, Watertown, Rochester, Rome, Elmira, Sherburne. All these areas had 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds last night. So consider ourselves relatively lucky that we've only had some scattered power outages. But we did have some damage in Pennellville and Oswego County, and also other places like Balney, and in sections of Ontario County, Oswego, and Jefferson County, there was reports of some damage as well. Looking forward, there is some rain to our south. There is some rain to our north and east, but in the right in the immediate viewing area, there's only a handful of sprinkles and showers. And in fact, as you look at this spiraling in, the worst weather is going to be over the southern tier today. There are some extra showers to the east and to the west, but kind of this zone right in here where there's a minimum of showers. And if you look carefully in the Futurecast, there's this kind of minimum area right in our area. So we're probably going to wind up with a couple of showers today. There should be some sun. And yes, a gusty wind. There is a wind advisory in effect. However, I do not expect wind gusts to exceed 40 miles an hour anywhere within central New York, although the extreme highest elevations of 2,000 feet and lakeshore communities might see a little extra. Tomorrow, less wind, extra cloud showers, maybe a shower at Halloween trick-or-treat time, but the wind should be a non-issue for trick-or-treaters. You're up to date with the forecast. Interactive Doppler radar is a way to zoom in. You know, there's a blizzard right now from the storm. West Virginia.
I know.
Feet of snow, heavy wet snow on leaves that are still, you know, it's foliage there, so that's going to be power outages massive there. Over 7 million customers without power on the East Coast.
Oh, and your heart just goes out. And, you know, we're so used to dealing with weather here. And sometimes when you see this and you see the devastation and the death and everything, you sit here and it's really sad. It's sad to report on it, and it's sad to talk about.
MTA said they'd never seen anything like this in 108 years of the subway system. It's that bad.
Well, obviously, Pete, this is what is trending all over Twitter. And NYU Hospital, this is a story that gets me choked up, because they not only had a power outage, but their backup generator failed. And we're talking about, when you talk about hospitals, you're talking about people who are really sick. They have cancer patients there. They have babies in the neonatal unit that literally were on battery-operated generator, you know, so that they could stay hooked up. And they had to carry these people out, the nurses and doctors. So they're being called heroes, and a lot of people are tweeting about them this morning. That is why that hospital is trending on Twitter.
Yeah, and I've been on Twitter retweeting a lot of stuff in New York City and Central New York. If you see anything in Central New York, or maybe you have family down anywhere along the coast, you can always tweet at us at CNY Central, at Lisa Spitz News, and at Pete Weatherbeats. Morning, I'm meteorologist Peter Hall. It is Tuesday as we wake up to still some gusty winds. The winds will not be as bad as last night, where we did have wind gusts of 40 in Syracuse. That was the lower one of anywhere in central and upstate New York. Many areas had 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. As expected, the rainfall wasn't bad. 2/3 of an inch of rain here. We're not expecting a ton of rain today either, just a couple of showers. Here's a look at what's happening right now, and you can notice that to the south and to the west, and even on the right side of the screen, that's where most of the rain is. So southern tier, western New York, and point south, we'll see numerous showers. But again, this kind of little mini oasis compared to many other spots. Look at this thing. This thing is huge. And right, if you would look at this map, The only spot that really isn't having anything going on is central New York. It's the craziest thing is to just take a look at this. Look at all the rain to our southwest, and then the heavy snow and blizzard condition in southern Ohio and in West Virginia. This whole area is being affected by the leftovers of Sandy, and this little one spot here in central New York is seeing less. Consider ourselves lucky, folks. And it's still going to be gusty today, sustained 15 to 30 winds with gusts to 40. We should not see any more damage. I just got actually some help from somebody on our weather watcher from Cleveland that did say that there was some damage there as well. Weather-wise, locally today, it's clouds and sun with passing intermittent showers. The wettest weather today, south, west, and east of our viewing area. Today's high, 63 degrees. You're up to date with the forecast. Time now for traffic and weather together. There's some wires down in Lysander at the corner of River Road and Timberbanks Road, or Timberbanks Parkway, which I believe is in the Radisson area, so be aware of that. They're cleaning that up there, and there may be, if there's any power outages and you're driving around and the traffic lights are out, just treat that intersection as a four-way stop if you run into that. Otherwise, the ramp from State Fair Boulevard to 690 East will be closed 9 to 2:30. 81 North will be down to one lane downtown. Construction continues on the 690 Thruway connector ramp. And 690 East has the left lane closed at the State Fair, and sometimes they close the center lane, too. City problems on the roadways, 315-477-9400 is the number to call. Back inside.
Still ahead, the latest on Superstorm Sandy. Janet.
Oswego County escapes the brunt of a superstorm, but there were some tense moments. I'm Jim Kenyon in Central Square, and I'll have a live report.